Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Derek Poppink. I am a freelance user experience strategist that specializes in design sprints and lean UX methods. So I thought I'd come tonight and talk about design sprints in practice. Design sprints, well, why do we do design sprints? In a real world, we wouldn't need them because every time we had a good idea, we would build it, we would launch it, we would measure it to see how well it did, and then we'd iterate, right? This is the world as it should be. But this is the world we actually live in, where we often start with bad ideas. Building it takes way too long. We gotta launch it once we're done because you can't go back, and we really get inconclusive results. So on to the next shiny idea. So in come design sprints as an alternative, which is when you have an idea, before building it and launching it, try building a prototype and testing it. And then do it again and again until you're ready to go the full virtuous circle. So, design sprints, the term I'm using, is based on Google's lovely book, Sprint, which is the full 5-day design sprint. And there are obviously shorter ways to do this, but I believe if you don't go all the way, you're missing a great opportunity. Sprints in a 5-day process include mapping a problem, sketching alternatives, deciding on when to prototype, building it, and testing it with actual users. This is an amazing experience. And let me tell you about some of the examples that I've had doing this. Mapping, the real key on that first day, is realizing that nobody knows everything, right? You need the input from a wide variety of stakeholders and experts. And so you get them together and share info to compare your individual knowledges. I did this with a group that does transportation brokerage. They try to match up packages with truckers. And we made a great whiteboard that included about 20 different steps as various people from carriers and customers, carrier reps and customer reps converged on a point where matchmaking needed to happen. And that was the key insight. Sketching is a great process in that it allows you to get the individual creativity out of each member of the team as opposed to a group brainstorm. When we sketched for an accounting firm, one of the key insights we came up with is that the app Basecamp, or the website Basecamp, was a great comparison for the audits that the accounting company did with their audit customers. Deciding is one of the most underrated parts of the design sprint. Most design sprints need to have a decider. I didn't realize this until after I had done a design sprint with an automotive analytics company where we had 4 deciders in the room. And believe me, that's not a situation you want to be in. Having one decider is important because that person not only owns what happens after the sprint, but makes the tough calls during the sprint because they're the most responsible for the solution. It's great to have a team, but someone needs to own the problem. Prototyping, one of the fun parts of the design sprint. The most important thing here is that you're not going for perfection. You're going for a realistic facade, much like the buildings in a typical Western. A good example of this for me was working with a grocery retailer that actually needed a mobile application to bring their retail store clerks and staff to their intranet, which otherwise they would never have access to. And we were able to build with InVision and Axure so that we could bring up on phones to test the next day. Testing, the 5th step of a design sprint, it should never be ignored. It's great to just do the ideating and the designing and then leave off the testing till later, but that will delay you by months, if not more. We had a great time with an insurance brokerage actually testing a chatbot. And as a chatbot, you can imagine, is a little bit difficult to test. We had one person in another room running the chatbot as a dialogue via text. A great experience testing a conversational interface that seemed real despite it being totally faked. So, design sprints are a little bit less like Friends or a sitcom where everything is scripted and it can be baked and comes out perfectly every time. They're a little bit more like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where you depend on the improvisation but follow established methods. They're a little bit less like a relay race where you're handing off the baton from one specialization to another. And a little bit more like rugby, where you're all pushing down the field together, crossing the finish line multiple times. They're a little bit less like a typical military unit, where everyone is trained the same and does the same things. A little bit more like Ocean's 11, where you need a team of experts, and you're not sure how they're each going to help pull off the heist, but you need every one of them. So that's what I have to share about design sprints. Happy to go into more detail with you at any point. Please feel free to come to me if you have questions. I'm representing myself. My company is called Future Experience, and I'm available for full-time employment or contracting. Thank you.